This episode's brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy is absolutely the best place to play fantasy sports, including best ball, daily drafts, and pick'em. Start drafting in minutes for a shot at big cash. Sign up and make sure to use the promo code DNA, and as a first-time depositor, Underdog will match your first deposit up to $100 with the DNA promo code. So what are you waiting for? Join Underdog Fantasy. Trust me, it's in our DNA. And now, on to the newest episode of Dynasty DNA. I hope you enjoy it.
Welcome to the Dynasty DNA Fantasy Football Podcast, where we talk Dynasty Fantasy Football, fantasy rankings, and everything NFL. Join us and dominate your Dynasty League. It's in your DNA. And here's your host, TJ Blake.
Welcome back, DNA Strand Crew. Yes, I'm the host of the Dynasty DNA Fantasy Football Podcast, TJ Blake. You can find me on Twitter at FFTJBlakeDNA. And as always, we're joined by our show architect and co-host, the A-Train Andy Blake. You can find him on Twitter at FFATrainDNA. How you doing today, Ann?
Good. How you guys doing?
We're doing good. And next up, we got the producer and co-host, Ty Blake. You can find him on Twitter at DynastyDNA. Ty, how you doing today, Ty?
Pretty good. How's it going?
We're doing good. And last but not least, it's the reason why Fantasy Feud is so successful. Muscles Ryan Mail. You can find him on Twitter at DynastyDNA. Muss. Now, I've been hearing feedback from the fans. People love that show just because you're on it.
I know. It's tough. I get DMs all the time. Yeah, it's
I've been hearing you've been getting naked pictures.
I know. It's kind of a nuisance.
But honestly, guys, I know that all you loyal listeners to the Dynasty DNA Network like the Fantasy Feud. If you haven't listened to it yet, you got to check it out. As all the other great shows on the Dynasty DNA Podcasting Network. I mean, we're going to be coming out with a new one. We're going to announce that right now. Me and Andy, every week or about week and a half or so, we're going to be doing a show called Dynasty DNA Plus. We're going to have some guests on. So what's going to be nice about this show is we're going to be bringing other people in from other shows, other analysts to get their opinions so you can listen to them, check them out as well. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait for it. First episode is going to be tomorrow going live. It'll be on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook Live. And then we will have it recorded and drop the next day for Spotify, Apple Pod, all that stuff. So if you like that kind of stuff, you got to check it out. Dynasty DNA Plus. I'm excited for it. How about you, Ann?
Dude, I'm so excited. The Tip Major will be our first guest, and I haven't actually got to speak with him, but I'm excited to talk some ball with him and talk ball with you as well. So
yep, gonna be a
blast.
Gonna add more great things to the Dynasty DNA Network. So definitely keep that in mind. And like I said, if you like all these shows, keep checking them out. We appreciate the support. But today, for our main Dynasty DNA podcast, this is one of the moments we wait for all year long. It's a 2024, way too early, rookie mock draft, Superflex tight end premium. Now, this is going to depend on a lot. I mean, we're familiar with these guys. We know these guys. I mean, this draft is very top-heavy. Mm-hmm. We know that. The first 6-7 picks are almost set in stone. I mean, you can flip a couple this way or that way, but we know who these guys are. Now, the only thing I will say is, things change when we watch the film.
Yeah.
So, this is our first diving into the rookies. This is our first time of the year. We haven't watched any tape on these guys yet. We're going to be doing our first running back film session show here in a couple weeks.
Yep.
And then we're just going to keep doing more film sessions on these guys. We're going to keep diving in on them, learning more about them. And as time goes on, our opinions will probably definitely change on a lot of these guys. So, just keep that in mind. This is a way too early rookie mock draft.
Yeah,
so.
And it's kind of fun to go back and see, the difference you have after you dive into it. You're like, oh, wow, that was not a good pick.
Yeah, because you're just going off consensus right now.
Yeah, you're going off consensus and just a short amount that you've seen. We can all watch, a game but not really look into it, especially with these college guys. I'm watching it for, the fun. And, of course, I want to see people be good, but we've seen a lot of people be a little bit successful but kind of be better because of things around them. So I try to, and that's what sucks with the NFL anymore. It's hard to enjoy it as a fan because I'm trying to watch it and see what's going on to help everybody that's listening and help myself win money.
Right.
So
Absolutely, man. And it's fun. This is a lot, like I said,
Yeah.
this is like Christmas for us. We wait all year to get into these classes. This is going to be a very top-heavy class. 3 possible generational prospects at 3 different positions.
Yeah.
So can't wait to talk about that. But before we hop in, I always bring it up. I will continue to bring it up because I think it's a great tool. It's the Dynasty DNA Discord channel. This thing's about at 130 members right now. And it's just rocking and rolling, man. If you're a fan of Dynasty, if you're a fan of fantasy football in general, DFS, we cover all that stuff over there. And it's a nice place to talk football, people. We all know the season's coming to an end soon. So what better way to, go into the offseason to meet some new friends, talk some Dynasty, talk some trades. Yeah. Everybody's welcome. It's free. All you got to do is go over to our Twitter page at DynastyDNA_. Right there in the bio at the top. You can click the link. It's all right there. And just join. We'd love to have you. It's free. And like I said, you have access to me, Andy, Ty, Muss, Jimmy from the Fantasy Feud, Sterling and Big E from the Double Coverage DFS show, other great guys that work with us, Dynasty Wiz. He's the creator of the Discord, Nicholas Holt, great guy, great analyst. I mean, you got access to Preston Evans, and I mean, you got other great people too. I mean, you have people like Dynasty Dog Mike and Dynasty Dog Rich. I mean, they have their own show, but they love to help people out.
Yeah.
I mean, just all kinds of awesome
It's
dudes.
about creating a community to be stronger and get a little more sharper and get ahead on competition, because really fantasy football in general has came a long way within the past couple years.
Yeah.
Like it's really, really evolved, and you got to find an edge. So
yeah,
absolutely does. But here we go. We're going to start this baby off the 2024 way too early rookie mock draft. And we're going to start over here with Ann first. He's got the first pick. And I mean, unless we're going to see a shocker here, Vontaze Mack, who's it going to be at number 1?
Well, being super flex, I'm going Caleb Williams, and it's pretty easy for me. There's really not a ton to say. I mean, I think he's pretty much everybody's consensus number 1. I have seen some drafts out there. I think, Marvin Harrison. I wouldn't do that. I'd still go Caleb Williams. Because here's the thing, man. You got to go quarterback, because if Caleb Williams hits and he's in okay, let's just say that he's doing what CJ Stroud did, you're getting Justin Jefferson plus.
Yeah.
He's going ahead of Justin Jefferson. It might not be a lot plus right now, but you're still getting plus.
Yeah. Plus it's insulated.
Yeah, it's insulated. You're going to have, you're going to have Stroud on your team, which you're going to have Jefferson on your team but you're going to have a difference maker.
Yeah.
At somebody with the floor of 20 points.
Yep.
In your super flex, you probably already had a quarterback 1. So you got to go Caleb Williams here. And is he going to go to the Bears? I don't know.
I see Washington.
You see all kinds of stuff, because you see Fields could be. We don't know, but for me, really, I don't think it really matters. I think I'd be a little more concerned if he does go to the Bears and they bring in Baltimore's old offensive coordinator, Greg Roman. And I seen that there's some rumblings about that. And that kind of makes me think that maybe they got to stick with Fields.
Yeah, that would actually be kind of nice.
And I think it'd be a mistake.
You think?
I think it would be a mistake. Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do. Just for the simple fact that it felt like week 18 was a little bit of make or break for Fields, and he just cannot throw right.
Oh, I meant for the Greg Roman hire. If you're gonna stick with Fields,
because
I mean, he kind of did it with Lamar.
Yeah, but I don't think Lamar's the best passer, but I think he's much more serviceable.
Right.
I do. We'll see. Even that I don't think really scares me off a ton. I just really see Caleb Williams being a top end, quarterback. And I remember the first time I seen Caleb Williams. I was actually a Spencer Rattler fan, and I was watching a game, and then they took him out, brought Caleb, and he tore it. Yeah,
I watched that game too.
Oh, he tore it up. I'm like, wow, this guy's amazing.
Yeah. Oklahoma.
Yeah, and I think he's getting a little bit of a hate on his name because the tears after the game. I heard something about him painting his fingernails. I don't give a shit what he does with his fingernails, if that's even true.
Yeah,
but the stupid stuff like that. And USC's defense was really bad.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you're always kind of gunning, I don't know, man. I think he's going to be great. I really do. And I'm not moving off Caleb.
No, I'm not either. And I mean, I assume the Bears. That's just the way I think. Because like you said, you could say this team, that team. Right now, the truth of reality is the Bears have the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
That's where they're at. And you almost got to perceive it as that, because when you're getting into this, you got to think that way.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, anything else might be better, but I mean, right now that's what you got to think. And, if they have the 109, I mean, could they get Malik Nabers? I mean, could they get somebody like that?
Yeah.
If they would, I mean, I would feel even better. I mean, they got to get some offensive line help, no doubt.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would be feeling better about the direction they're going.
And there's even some like good free agency wide receivers coming, like Marquise Brown could hit the market. T. Higgins, I mean, we'll see. I don't know if they could land him with DJ Moore, but Cole Kmet's really stepped up.
Yeah.
If this is his landing spot, we don't know. There could be a team that surprises everybody that jumps up. What if it's Atlanta? Like, I mean, then he's sitting there with Drake London, Kyle Pitts, and Bijan Robinson.
Yeah. I just thought like Josh Harris with that ownership group, maybe they just want to go and make a splash since he is kind of a local guy. That's kind of what I see, but
it could definitely happen.
It could go 15 ways.
Yeah, and the book hasn't been wrote yet, and I think it's going to be exciting.
I mean, the hype's come down a little bit since the beginning of the season. But like you said, USC's defense was horrible. I mean, it just was. But I mean, like in your mind, Caleb Williams right now, if you had to guess, let's just say he goes to Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think he would finish as his year one as his quarterback ceiling? Do you think he'd be like a high-end quarterback too?
Yeah, I think he could be right around the back end. Yeah, probably higher end quarterback too.
Like 13 to 15?
Yeah, and here's the thing, man. If that happens, and we're already predicting this, there could be a bit of a discount on him because people are going to expect him to be CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
They really are. And then everybody's going to be panicked and stuff like that. No, I would still take CJ Stroud ahead of him very easily. But I'm just saying, like, I think that he could end up being a little bit of a discount. Trying to think in others' minds about that. So
yeah,
if he is, hold him. I mean, it'll be fine.
So if you had the 101 and someone come knock on your door and said, "Hey, I'll trade you CJ Stroud," that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer to me.
So just something to keep in mind. I mean, maybe that's something you even want to explore if you have that.
Yeah.
So we're going to come over here to me now. It's the 102. Now this one's tough because you could do a variety of things. And I mean, honestly, I've been bouncing back and forth on this, but I think this is the best move. I'm going to go with Marvin Harrison Jr., wide receiver, Ohio State. I mean, we don't very often see a talent like this come in the league, a freak. I mean, to me, he's probably the most hyped receiver since Randy Moss.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy's unbelievable. And that's going back to what I said, there could be 3 generational prospects at 3 different positions. Marvin Harrison's one of them being at receiver. And I know Drake Maye's sitting there. Yeah. And I mean, really, if you're sitting at 3, it's kind of like maybe if you feel better about it, it's like I'm getting one or the other.
Yeah.
But Marvin Harrison, man, I just look at it like this. I look at Drake Maye and I see a nice player. I think he could be a really solid quarterback in the league. But what if he's more like a Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins type guy? And I mean, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said earlier, he's not going to fetch, like you said about Justin Jefferson and Caleb Williams trading that, you get plus. That's not kind of the case I don't see with Drake Maye. So, I mean, I just see Marvin Harrison as just, I mean, his dad's, he's got the bloodline. His dad was one of the best receivers ever to play.
Yep.
And I mean, just everything we've seen on tape, I mean, as far as the limited stuff we've seen in all the games we watched, he just is a game-wrecking monster.
Yeah.
I mean, just he can catch. I mean, you can do all the routes. He's a yak guy. He's a jump ball guy. He has every tool in the toolbox.
I know he's somebody I don't see. Like, of course, I got to watch, really watch the tape, but I don't really see any flaws.
No.
Like there's nothing. I'm like, well, he could maybe work. I don't see anything just off of what I've been seeing.
His catches are like unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like the throws, I'm like, oh, that's gonna be an incomplete. And then like he just like goes out and catches it. Like it's crazy.
Now something that would scare me. Let's put this in a scenario. The Bears hire Roman. They keep Fields. They get Marvin Harrison. They have DJ Moore. This is bad news.
Yeah.
This is bad news for DJ Moore and Marvin Harrison.
And that's the thing. Like, I know a lot of the community be like, oh, I want this offense. No. If that happens, I'm honestly, I don't want no part of it. I mean, if it's Caleb Williams and Malik Nabers and DJ Moore, then I'm going to be more inclined to maybe start getting involved a little bit more.
And I think it's okay, like, if that were to happen, to take a piece, not take multiple pieces and put your chips all on,
right,
all in one spot. Like, okay, maybe try this and try that. Like that's a scenario that could happen. I hope it doesn't happen. This guy's so talented. I mean, and he's even looked good with what was it, McCord or whatever their quarterback. I mean, not good. So
well, and it's just someone to me, like right away, very rarely do you have a rookie wide receiver being talked about in the first like top 3 tier.
Yeah.
I mean, and people are already starting to anoint him in there. Now, I'm not going to go crazy. He's still a rookie.
Yeah.
But I will say just the value aspect of him alone, you know, he could be this next Justin Jefferson type guy. And I mean, putting up these monster numbers.
And the thing is too, like if Caleb Williams wasn't in this draft, good chance he goes 1-1.
Yeah.
Has a receiver ever went 1-1? I know. I think Calvin Johnson went 2.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Keyshawn Johnson.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, yep. Keyshawn Johnson went 1-1.
So that'd be the first time since the 90s. Like,
yeah, it don't happen very often. And I mean, like I said, going back to like Randy Moss, like to me, he is the most hyped wide receiver prospect since Randy Moss.
Yep.
I mean, this guy's going to be incredible. I'm excited to see what happens. You know, I know Arizona. If that happens, I'm going to be in love. And we talked about this offense, Arizona being a sneaky one. If Marv does go to Arizona, and you pair that with Trey McBride and Kyler Murray, it's going to be something to see, man.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and then watching his dad play, like I was kind of a closet Colts fan. Like I like the Colts a lot.
Yeah.
Because I was a big Peyton Manning fan, but that connection was just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like Marvin Harrison and Peyton Manning. And I mean, it'd be great to see him go with Kyler. I mean, I think that'd be one of my favorite spots, realistic spots.
Right,
you know?
right.
If it's New England, I'd be a little upset.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would be too. Let's see. I mean, Bill Belichick's gone. Maybe they try to run something different. I know Mayo's a defensive-minded guy as well, but
and this could depend, like we talked about Drake Maye,
yeah,
Marvin Harrison going back and forth. This could depend on landing spot. I mean, if it's that bad for Marvin Harrison, you can make that argument maybe a little bit more to push Drake Maye up.
And that's just speaking like hypothetically. You got to really look at everything and hire.
Right.
Like there's so much it can change. And who knows? Maybe somebody comes up and really wants Marvin Harrison and pays, a ton. It'd be nice seeing with the Texans back with CJ Stroud.
Yeah,
that would be great.
But one thing before we move on, and I just want to keep this in perspective because I've seen this and it drives me crazy. Like there's people trading Justin Jefferson for this pick.
No.
I mean, no, it's like I love Marvin Harrison. Like this guy is going to be really hyped. I think he's going to be really, really good. But when you got a proven asset that's still at the age of that guy, don't buy into the hype and just because you want to get excited about the pick.
Right.
I mean, you can't trade a player of that quality because of that.
I'm really excited about him. I wouldn't trade Jefferson. I wouldn't trade Lamb. Jamar Chase is still ahead of him. Is there anybody else? Like, I mean, Amon-Ra maybe?
I think that's the line where it starts to get real. Like, I mean, like I could maybe see it, but it is still tougher.
Yeah.
I mean, Amon-Ra is proven, and he's part of that offense.
And he's so consistent.
Yeah, he is.
With him.
Yeah.
He's so
I don't think I could trade Amon-Ra for that.
I don't
pick.
think I could either.
AJ Brown.
Yeah, I would.
If AJ Brown wasn't throwing the fit.
Yeah, I would trade AJ Brown.
So do I, because I don't trust this Eagles offense right now.
I don't know.
Either. And I know that sounds crazy and maybe, but I think he can be better than AJ Brown.
Yeah.
Like I'm swinging for the fences here.
I think that's the line. I mean, if you want to trade AJ Brown for it, I think that would be a good move.
I would trade Garrett Wilson.
Oh yeah.
I ran a poll and actually it was really close. Puka Nacua or him. I would take Marvin Harrison
easily.
Don't get me wrong. I've been sitting here pounding the table saying he's top 12. He's top 12. Probably moved up a couple more spots as recent performances. But man, you're talking Puka Nacua is very good. I seen a really good comp on Twitter and said it reminded him a lot of Anquan Bolden. It's like, that's a damn good comp.
Yeah. It is.
He is good on screen passes and just finding open spaces, but not real great at creating separation in one-on-one. Not saying he's bad, but you look at Marvin Harrison, you look at him, it's like, it's not even close.
Right.
That's what I said. He's got every tool in the toolbox.
Yeah.
I mean, Puka, and the thing is, you got to realize about Puka, and I said this, what's going to happen with the Rams quarterback situation?
Yeah.
I mean, I know Stafford will probably be back next year, but the clock is ticking.
Yeah.
So you got to keep that in mind. But we're going to come over here to Ty at the 103. I have a good idea who's it going to be.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go Drake Maye. Again, I mean, I really haven't watched much tape, but I watched him a little bit one time on ESPN, and he really did impress me. The guy really don't have many any cons on him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just really good in all areas of his game. He's a big guy. He can move for his size. I think there's a good chance he could go to Washington. That'd be a great spot for him. They already got a lot of weapons there. I mean, he had a 149 passer rating in college with North Carolina. So
yeah,
it's pretty impressive. I mean, 24 touchdowns, 9 picks, 3,608 passing yards on the year. The guy's a stud.
Yeah,
I mean, he's not Caleb Williams, but he's right up there.
He's a great consolation prize. If you didn't get Caleb Williams, you need a quarterback in Superflex. He's a great consolation prize. And I'll tell you, man, he's got a strong arm.
Yeah.
I mean, he does. And like you said, Ty, he played with North Carolina.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like
that's where Sam Howell came from. Too.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
And that's what it worries me because you've seen like Trubisky come out of there, but it seems like they're starting to kind of get things under control. Sam Howell's look good.
Yeah.
Might not get a fair shake. We'll see. But I mean, they're starting to kind of produce a couple guys here. I mean, Javonte hasn't really cracked out. Not to bring up that.
You watch your mouth.
I mean, neither has Michael Carter really, but Downs has looked good. I mean, they're starting to kind of, put their foot in the door here. Used to be mainly known for like basketball.
Yeah.
Them and Duke, it was always
Mac Brown's coaching that team.
Yeah, I think that has a lot to do with it. So
yeah, it really does help. And I mean, Drake Maye most likely do. I mean, like if there's nothing funny that goes on top of this draft, do you see Washington taking him at 2?
Man, I don't know. I don't know. I think there's a good chance, but it does seem like Howell kind of ran out of steam. Did they know that? Now Rivera's gone. Maybe just a new regime. Probably, I think probably.
Unless they trade up for Caleb Williams, like Musk said. Now, if like Drake Maye went to New England,
what if they just take Marvin Harrison at 2?
They could.
Yeah, that's what Ty said that on the feud.
That's kind of my thought. Like, okay, we just hit on this guy with Sam Howell. Like, he's got something. Let's see what we can do, because you can't deny the defense was bad. The defense was atrocious.
Right.
So Sam Howell's gunslinging every time. And maybe that's just what Sam Howell is. And maybe they see more than we see. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of questions there, but I would not count out Marvin Harrison being picked there at number 2 at all. So as far as Sam Howell, I mean, maybe, even if you're a contender, would you give up a late second? Somebody's like, oh, they're definitely taking Drake Maye.
Absolutely.
You might make out in that. Like,
yeah. I think even if they still do, you could still keep them.
Maybe they trade him for a third or something.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
yeah,
I think he still has a little bit of value.
I do too.
I think the market's really overreacted on this a bit. So.
The market's just been crazy this year. I feel like everybody's overreacting on everybody.
They are. They definitely are. I've never remembered seeing Dynasty being played like week to week as it was this year.
Yeah.
As soon as somebody takes off, everybody wants them.
Yep.
And that's like I said, I love Puka Nacua. It was a smash matchup. Detroit secondary is not that good.
Right.
And that's not taking anything away. And at the same token, like we sat here and said, like it's top 12 receiver, but it's just reaction so bad. Like, I don't know, man. You got to be careful with that.
Well, we seen it last year with like Chris Olave. We said it like, okay, Chris Olave is a good player, but I seen people having him in their top 5. It's like, no, it's like, you got to understand what he is. He's a great high-end wide receiver too when he's producing at his best clip.
Right.
But he's never going to be one of these elite guys.
Yeah.
I mean, you like we talked about with Marv, you got to have all the tools in the toolbox to be able to elevate to that level.
Absolutely.
And you got to be able to check those check boxes. So,
yep.
But Drake Maye, Ty, that was a good pick. That's where I went to. Yeah. We're going to come over here to Musk. Now, this one's a little interesting too. I put a poll up on Twitter last night, or X, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, if you were sitting at the 104, which Muscles is right now, this is Superflex tight end premium. You could go with a smorgasbord of options here. So who would you go with 104 here now, Mus?
I'm going to go Jayden Daniels. I really like his fantasy football upside as a runner.
Yeah.
I mean, if this was real football, I wouldn't. But I'm saying this is fantasy football. So I'm going to go that. He's definitely doesn't have the arm as Drake Maye, but he does have a nice deep ball. PFF rated him as the top rated thrower over 30 yards. So, I mean, he does have a good deep ball, but I mean, we saw this with Justin Fields. You don't really have to throw the ball if you can run it. Now, obviously we know Justin Fields kind of took a crap, but
right.
I see it being top 10 at draft capital, just kind of like Justin Fields. So I think I'm going to go there for now and hope that the rushing upside kind of propels him a little bit. Maybe he can go to a nice situation to where, maybe he can develop into a decent thrower.
I am so excited to scout him because I hear nothing but good things.
Yeah.
It's scary. You haven't seen it for multiple years, but, Joe Burrow kind of came out of nowhere. Like, even Anthony Richardson kind of came out of nowhere.
Right.
So this is a guy out of LSU has, obviously Malik Nabers is a beast. Brian Thomas is very good. And he had some good weapons and finally, maybe this was his chance. He finally hit like, okay, how sometimes even with anything, it just clicks. Like,
right.
Okay, maybe it finally clicked for the guy. I'm going to be curious to see how high he goes. I mean, there's a lot of reports saying that he could be the second quarterback taken off the board over Drake Maye.
May. Yeah.
That would be wild.
Yeah, it would.
So this is probably where I'm going too. And as much as like I love Brock Bowers, probably more safe, to be honest. I think I would probably roll Jayden Daniels as well. Again, he's the same thing, quarterback. If he hits, you're getting plus.
Right.
If he can do what kind of Anthony Richardson did last year before he got hurt, I mean, the hype train will be unreal. And like you said, man, it's going back to, I know it's 1 year, but he did look good and he's playing against SEC competition.
And that's the thing. Like we like Anthony Richardson really high. Seems like Jayden Daniels can run. I don't know. I don't know a lot about him.
Yeah.
Seems like he's a good runner, but not as good as Anthony Richardson, but has a better arm than Anthony Richardson. So it kind of,
right.
Kind of helps, make his case.
And we'll try Heisman Trophy winner too. That never hurts.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't blame you, Muss. To me, it's interesting because, with Nabers, Daniels, and Bowers with this pick, you know what I mean? With tight ends, premium, super flex, you could do a variety of things. You're kind of sitting in the driver's seat here too, and for a trade, really.
Yeah.
You got to keep that in mind. If someone wants to come up and get Malik Nabers, say they're sitting at 6, say you got a decent roster, you're kind of bolstered all over the place. You don't need one certain position. You can maybe get a little value out of that pick.
Yeah.
So I really like that. But we're going to go over here to the train and the 105. Who are you going to take so you can leave me the next guy?
I know this is tough, but being tight end premium, I think I got to go Brock Bowers.
I hate you.
And I've heard nothing but good things out of Malik Nabers. Again, got to really break down the film, but I know Brock Bowers is damn good.
Oh yeah.
And I have this feeling in my tiny little heart he's going to be a Charger.
Yeah, and if that happens, your heart will grow 3 sizes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just have that feeling, man. And just everything that I've seen out of Brock Bowers, he's so damn good. And we've seen it multiple years. So it makes me feel, really safe. We've always said tight end can be a little bit scheme dependent. So I feel like if it is the Chargers, that's great news. But he's so damn good. Like I just don't want to get Kyle Pitts again. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like, here he goes somewhere and then it's just a train wreck. But
yeah,
I think Brock Bowers is way more safe than Pitts. And that's saying something because I loved Pitts' film, but I just have this feeling he's going to the Chargers. But not only that, like I said, man, I think he could line up in the slot a lot. Travis Kelce's kind of coming to an end, and we're starting to see these other tight ends step up. Trey McBride's look great. We're seeing Sam Laporta have an amazing season. I think that's a real question. Would you guys trade Sam Laporta straight up for
no?
I'd rather have Sam Laporta.
Yeah, I would too.
He's a great prospect. We're kind of going back what we said about Justin Jefferson and Marv. I couldn't quite do that because I've seen what I've seen from Laporta.
Right. But you might get somebody feeling froggy, and you might be able to jump on Laporta.
You might. But Laporta is my tight end 1 in Dynasty, and you're playing a what if.
Some people go crazy though.
Oh
the draft.
Yeah.
Like, you might be able to make that kind of stuff happen.
One thing about Bowers is he's a really good blocker too.
Yeah, he is.
And he's like, and I know what you said about Kyle Pitts, but like this is different because there's like better equipped teams that are up higher,
right,
that can help him.
Yeah,
opposed to like what the Falcons were.
Right.
I know. I feel the same way. So like, I think he's going to be very schemed into an offense, and like I said, and the good news for him too, it seems like this is a year where a lot of tight ends became more schemed, like the McBrides, the Laportas. TJ Hawks had a great year. Mark Andrews was having a great year, like always.
Right.
So maybe tight ends won't be so dependent, there's Travis Kelce and a gap.
So Brock Bowers, we know, generational prospect. I mean, where do you have him now? Even before anything going into this season, where do you have him now? Is he top 5, top 3?
He's probably, so I got Laporta 1. Honestly, Trey McBride's probably my 2.
Yeah.
And then after that, it probably Bowers.
Okay.
As crazy as that seems,
I can see that.
And I love Hawkinson. I do, but he's going to probably miss all year next year. He gets a little bit older. I love Kincaid, but we're still seeing Dawson Knox. Usually just seeing it in the Steelers game. That's a bit concerning. Travis Kelce starting to hit. Am I missing anybody?
No.
Yeah. I love Mark Andrews, but he's getting a little bit older to where you're starting to think, can I get this guy plus, because you already missed out on McBride. Like, you're not getting McBride for him.
And Likely's look good. He could be out the door someday. You
know?
Yeah.
So that's a bit concerning as well. So I think he's probably my probably 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing to remember is if you're on the clock and you want him, I think you just got to get him, because you can't fall for this 2023 like, I'll just draft a tight end later. Not every class is deep in tight ends.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you need a tight end and you're here, you just got to take them.
And that's a good point, Muss. And then, like I said, we got to watch the film and everything. We got to break this all down. But I mean, from what I'm seeing, this draft is just super top heavy. I mean, everything after that, I think you're throwing darts.
Yeah.
I mean, we identified some really nice players last year. We said, hey, these guys are pretty nice guys to have.
I think there's a lot of value to be had as well, but guys that they're going to need to be in the right situation and just maybe get a break.
Yeah, I agree.
I'll tell you, this guy could be such a game wrecker. I'm seeing some of his stats. I mean, he hit 22 miles per hour. He can fly.
That's what I mean. You can put him in a slot. You can do, and that's what Travis Kelce does. It'd be nice to see the Chiefs jump up and just
Lord.
Well, they said
give up 2 first-round picks, and
they said there's 2 spots that are like really looking like prevalent: Chargers and Bengals.
Yeah,
and either way, either way, it would be interesting.
Well, I don't want to see him be a Bengal, Steelers fan here.
Me either. It would be scary. But Brock Bowers, man, generational prospect at the tight end position. Again, I mean, this draft's so exciting with that type of hype.
And we're not trying to use the word generational every year, but literally, dude, these 3 to me are generational, where you're like, there's not many flaws, if any. And it seems crazy, but you already have them to this high standard where I think they can outperform the standards that we even have them at.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me if he's a Charger and he goes out and he's tight end 1 the next year, like over Laporta.
Yeah.
Not saying I would do that because that's too big of a gamble for me, but I still think you're getting a very good piece.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely has a chance. They consider him the best tight end ever out of college.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. It's going to be exciting.
Yep. Great pick in. Like I said, that was who I was hoping to get, but we're going to hop over here to me now at the 106. And it's going to be a guy that, he's like the sexiest player right now outside of these top guys. Everyone's really, really digging on this guy. It's going to be Malik Nabers, wide receiver, LSU. I mean, again, I watched a little bit of him. I mean, he does look really, really good, no doubt about it. But, I've seen I'd maybe consider taking him over Marvin Harrison. I would not do that.
No,
I'm going to tell you,
that too.
I mean, without even watching the film, I can tell you right now that I just don't think that would be a really wise move. Now, I mean, we'll see what happens with landing spot. Now, that could maybe sway you just a little bit as far as like you're worried this or that. But I mean, I'd still go with the talent.
Yeah.
But I mean, this guy, I mean, he's again, if you didn't get a Marvin Harrison, you're sitting down here around 105, 106, and he's there. I mean, this could be a really nice player to get.
Yeah.
Let's say the Bears draft Caleb Williams and Malik Nabers, and they have DJ Moore. And I mean, that offense could be pretty sustainable at that point. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, LSU, I'll tell you this. They are a wide receiver machine. They put out wide receivers better than almost anybody. You can go on and on and on. Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase.
Keyshawn Butte.
Yeah.
That was the only bad one.
That was the only bad one. But OBJ.
Yeah. They manufacture them, and so has Ohio State.
Yeah.
They've really been,
them two schools put out good wideouts.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's SEC competition. He looked great this year, man. He's a guy too that he can fill a lot of these check boxes. I think he's going to be a really nice player to have. I mean, these last couple drafts, some of the wide receivers in like the first round kind of been unappetizing. Like, to me, I honestly think he could be better than JSN. I think he can be better than Zay Flowers.
Yeah.
I think he has that potential. We'll see where he lands, but that's what's nice about this draft. Again, when we say about being top heavy, you have one of these top 7 picks.
Right.
I mean, it's looking better than what we had last year.
Yeah.
I mean, outside of the running backs, of course, this running back class is atrocious.
Right.
But I mean, as far as the skill positions, it's pretty interesting. But what do you guys think of Nabers? I think that he could be really, really electric for sure.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, I love the LSU brand too.
Right.
Like, you just get really talented guys out of there. Not all of them hit, but he's shown enough to me, like, without even looking at the film, you can tell the guy's going to be good.
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't see a ton of flaws. Anything that jumps out, it's like, well, he's not good at this and this. Like I said, we'll see when we actually break down the film, but I think he's a safe pick. And I truly believe he's going to come in and he could probably run, rate as a wide receiver 1.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for like a 105, I just think that like that's a steal for the caliber of, player you're going to get. Like, that's just how top heavy this class is so far.
Yeah.
Just in the initial scouting. I saw, I'm sure, I don't know if you guys saw the highlight. I saw it on Twitter where like he caught the ball on the right sideline and ran to the left sideline and just outran everybody.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like it's just crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
he's a super athlete, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I feel like I'd rather have Marvin Harrison Jr., but I think he's close.
Yeah.
Like I think if you took out Marvin Harrison Jr.'s name, I think I don't think he's that far off.
I think being new school NFL, Marvin Harrison's more that old school big guy, can just get physical and win. Nabers, I think he's just a really good route runner. It's going to find ways to get open in zone coverage and in man because he's such a good route runner.
Yeah, and he's got speed.
Yeah.
And the thing is, man, with Marv, like we talked, all the tools. Like, he's big. You can throw him a fade route down in the end zone, down around the 5-10. He's going to catch that.
Yeah.
You can throw him a little bubble screen. He could take that for a touchdown. Like, he can do it all. That's like with Nabers. I mean, I'm not knocking him because I think he's great. But, like, can he win them 50-50 jump balls?
Right.
Yeah.
That's where you can get more points. I mean, we know down the red zone, I mean, that's a big difference. I mean, I'm like you. I don't think it's super, super far off. I mean,
I don't either. I think you'd be really excited in a lot of classes to get him as your.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
I
honestly think, and I mean, it would be a move that I would do. I think you could get Nabers in a first for Marvin Harrison Jr.
That'd be.
Yeah, I mean,
that's tough. I think I would, but I just love Marvin.
I know.
I love Marvin.
I get it, and like I love the name, and I love the player, but
yeah.
And a lot could depend on landing spot, I said.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if they do indeed take Marvin Harrison, the Bears, and they stick with Justin Fields, I'm not going to be really in love with that.
If I break down this tape and I'm like, oh, I do not like Nabers, which I don't see happening, boy, this would look bad. But I don't see it happening. I'm like, you must. That's probably a good move to make. As long as it's not like a real late first.
Right.
Nothing,
but yeah, I mean, just from my initial, like we all said, I haven't dove real deep, but just from what I saw, like, he's just like, I think he would have definitely been ahead of JSN last year.
Oh yeah.
And like, I just think he's a great receiver for 105.
I would take. Yeah, we'll just make that clear. Besides Puka Nacua, I don't think I would take Nabers over Nacua yet.
No,
I don't think I would.
No,
but and I like him. I just don't think I would, but I would take him over anybody else in that class.
Yeah.
Anybody else.
Yeah, that's what I said last year. He would be, to me, rated above all the other guys that come out.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So we're going to come over here to Ty now. It's the 107. Ty, the 107. I'm pretty sure probably which way you're headed, but who you going with?
Yeah, I'm going to go Roma Dunzier. He's a really big-bodied receiver. He's 6'3", 215. Kind of laugh because I was looking at a lot of the complaints about the guy, and they said, well, he don't have he's not a fast guy. Well, I mean, he's a guy, he's just like DeAndre Hopkins. he just dominates people in the air. He's a big guy.
Yeah.
And kind of like George Pickens.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people don't understand. That's just how some people are built. But really impressive player to me. Unbelievable stats at Washington. I mean, right up there with the Blitnikoff award winner Marvin Harrison Jr. for stat. I mean, he had a great season, and them three guys all deserve that trophy this year. I mean, all three of them are great players. So he's probably gonna be a top 10 pick. A lot of people projecting. He had a pretty good game against Michigan, the national championship game. 5 catches, 87 yards. Would have had a lot more if Penix wouldn't have missed him wide open.
I know.
So, and that's really impressive. Michigan's probably got the #1 defense in the country. So, really nice showing. I like to see that. I do like to see that because we've seen how Quentin Johnson flared out in that game. So, we like to at least see a little bit of and just him being alive in that game. So, I think he could be a really solid player. I do. I mean, I think he could maybe go like the Giants. It'd be a good spot for him.
I've heard that spot a lot.
Yeah, it'll be interesting with Rome Odunze. And, you know, he's this wild card. I mean, we know so much about these other guys. I mean, but, you know, the Pac-12 has historically, outside of USC, not done a great job at the wide receiver position. But he does, I mean, have a lot of potential. I mean, he's the one I'm excited to really watch the tape on.
I am too, because I think, I don't know, I hear so many different things. I think a lot of people are in on him, but a lot of people are a bit nervous.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because of the Washington tag.
Right.
But if you did that with C.J. Stroud with the Ohio State quarterbacks, he got screwed last year.
Yeah.
I love his big frame and size. I'm like you. And I'm not comparing him to DeAndre Hopkins, but he has that play style. He's just big.
He's a dominant.
He finds ways like that go-get mentality. Like, I'm going to get the ball. And I love that.
Yep.
We'll see. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. I'm like you, man. I think he could be a top 10 pick.
Yeah. And you know, the wide receiver position, we know the NFL puts a premise on that now.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen it next to the quarterback. That is like the position. So, and I'm like you, just a big dominant player. And like I said, I'm excited to watch the film because, you know, I know he can, like you said, as far as like watching the eyeball test, you know, that's what kind of player he is. Can he do a little bit of some other things? So that's why I'm excited to watch the film.
Definitely.
So really nice player, Rome Odunze, kind of another guy. Now we're getting outside the top 7. Now we're starting to get into dicey waters.
Yeah.
I mean, now when I was talking about throwing darts a little bit, I think we're going to start our dart throwing competition. We're going to come over here to Muss at the 108. Muss, Rome Odunze off the board, 108. I mean, you could go a variety of places here. Where do you feel like's the best move for you?
Yeah, you could go, I think, a lot of places here. I think I'm going to take a real big dart throw. I'm going to take Xavier Worthy.
Ooh.
Real explosive guy from what I saw. And I'm going to bank on him being a late first-round pick, which, like, fits the Bengals.
Okay.
The Chiefs.
Like a better quality offense.
And he's just so explosive that I think that, like, he would fit them offenses, and you could get really good fantasy production as a wide receiver, too. You could fit like I don't want to call him T. Higgins because he's not really that kind of player, but like you could get that T. Higgins role.
Like a Rashee Rice.
Yeah, like a Rashee Rice kind of. And I mean, he is a smaller frame guy, but I mean, you're not seeing the hits. I mean, you're seeing more wrap tackles and not the explosive, hits. I mean, we're seeing Tank Dell. I mean, he had his injury problems this year, but like players like that succeeding, and I think that Xavier Worthy could fit that kind of role. And, be a top 20 receiver.
I like it, man. I mean, honestly, like I said, you're looking for upside and you made a good point. I mean, these smaller guys, these little electric guys, and if he goes to a good offense, I mean, maybe it could be like a Tank Dell style player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's a good point too. Like you said about him being more maybe towards the back end of the first, early second. I mean, there's some nice receivers we see get picked around there.
Yeah.
So I really like that pick. How do you think about Xavier Worthy? And
yeah, he's a guy I need to watch like way more tape, but everything I hear, like big time speedster and just can get it done, get open. And I'm like you, maybe like, I think Rashee Rice role like you're saying, but that's great.
Yeah.
And
that's great.
And I kind of like what you did here at 108, because like if you're legitimately picking 108, 109, you're getting closer to being a serious contender. You get a guy like this that's maybe a big play threat, and he comes through for you.
Mm-hmm.
That could be a nice ad. So I like that pick, Moss. That was pretty creative. But we're going to come over here to Ann now. It's the 109. And what are you going to go with?
There's so many different ways to go. I honestly thought about Penix, but I'm a little bit worried with draft capital and didn't look the best against Michigan. So I think I'm going to go Brian Thomas Jr. here, another LSU receiver.
Oh,
bigger guy, 6'4".
You took my LSU pick,
but a player that can get down the field and just win, like in the 50-50 balls, and I love that. Like, and he kind of fits in the same category as Worthy, a different player, but like maybe not ever the number one, but a guy that can just get you touchdowns and just big plays. Like,
right.
I don't ever see him being like dominant, but just a good, almost like a yin to somebody's yang. I would love to see him in like Cincinnati, obviously Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be bad for the Steelers, I think, but like
maybe like a Gabe Davis style player.
Yeah, something like that. So I think that's where I'm going here. Like I said, I really thought about Penix because what I did see with him, throughout the other games, he looked really good. And just it does scare you with the ACL. He's had multiple knee injuries, a little bit older. I believe he's 25. So I think I would rather invest maybe right here in Brian Thomas. Somebody I'm excited to watch because he's kind of been a name that's been talked about a little more. Everybody talks about Nabers like, hey, don't forget about Brian Thomas Jr. here. So,
right. Yeah, kind of flying in under the radar.
Yeah. So if they really like his game, 21 years old, and he gets first-round capital, and it seems like it's quite possible, early second, I think it'll be a name that a lot of people will be excited about.
Yeah, from what I heard, he's super fluid.
Mm-hmm.
Just a 6'4", super fluid guy.
And the go-get mentality. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
As long as he ain't Jonathan Mingo.
Yeah. this wide receiver class is just incredible.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is, man. It's going to be interesting. Last year it was kind of underwhelming in the first round. Now there was some good value in the second, but this year there's some good players in the first round. It's going to be exciting. But we're going to hop over here to me, the 109. I mean, there was two guys I was looking at and took my first choice. I'm going to go with my second one. I'm going to go with Keon Coleman, wide receiver, Florida State. I mean, if you ever see this guy, I did watch a little bit of him. I mean, as far as like not film, but like some of his games, this guy is like a highlight. I mean, some of the catches he makes and stuff. I mean, it's unreal.
Yeah.
I mean, he just a guy that another guy can go up and get it, and really, really strong on the ball. Like I said, as far as like you can throw it up to him, he's really good about out muscling defenders, got good hands. And this Florida State team was rolling before their quarterback got injured.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he was a big part of that. I mean, I think he's going to be a really good touchdown guy.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll just be interesting to see where he ends up. Because like Musk said earlier about Worthy, I could see him being possibly a back-end first round, early second round guy. Does he go to a team like a good quality offense?
Right.
And like you said, even being number 2,
Yeah.
But I really like the size. I really like the hands. What do you think about Keon Coleman?
A lot of people have already labeled him a bust. I don't know really why. Like, we got to watch. And I don't like to go in to think that because I believe he was at Michigan State the year before. Because I remember seeing him with Jayden Reed film.
Yeah, I believe you're right.
Yeah, and he does. He makes some unbelievable catches.
Oh.
But everything, and I've heard this from another podcast that I've heard, is he's a very hard worker. So that's good. So if he's really, already labeled a bust, but he's a hard worker, he gets in the right system, I think there's good value to be had there.
Yeah.
So maybe, right here, maybe he kind of reminds me of like a Brian Thomas. Like, they're both the kind of red zone guys, bigger guys, big body.
Like a good yin to a yang.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't mind to pick at all. And I'm excited to watch him because I love seeing catches like that. We'll see how it all works out, but I don't think it's safe I don't think anybody's seen enough film to label anybody a bust right now.
Exactly. And that's when you got to delve in. We're going to jump headfirst in here in the next week or two. I can't wait for that. But yeah, I mean, and like you said, if he's a hard worker, that at least gives you like, okay, he's going to take it seriously.
Right.
And I mean, this Florida State team, like I said, good, bad, and differently, they were rolling.
Mm-hmm.
He was a big part of that. So really will be interesting with Keon Coleman. Will he be this year's Quentin Johnston? We'll see.
Well, and I think that's the difference too. You got to think about, right? Like, Quentin Johnston's a bigger guy, but the thing that we didn't like was his contested catch ability
for his size.
For his size.
Yep.
So far, it seems like Keon Coleman does that.
Yeah.
Maybe he comes out with some really nice catches. I mean, we'll continue to see here, but I mean, that's why I don't really think it's fair to label that, because you got to think, how's this guy going to win? He's not going to win on, he's going to win on jump balls and stuff down the field. He's not going to be a Malik Nabers where he's creating separation and speed. Like, that's how you got to think. An offense is going to look at this guy and say, how can he contribute? They're not going to put him in. Hopefully they don't put him in the wrong situation.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it could be like a Zay Jones type player.
Yeah.
It just depends. I mean, you hope for a little better picking down here, but at the same time, we know these back-end first-round picks. I mean, sometimes you can get lucky, but lots of times you just get an okay player, you bolster your roster.
Yeah, which is good.
Which is good, yeah. But like you said, the film will tell us a lot more.
Yeah, it will.
We're going to come over here to Ty at the 110. Ty, it's your last pick of this way too early rookie mock draft. What's funny? No running backs taken yet. Ty, 110, will it be a running back, or will you go another direction?
No, I think I'm going to give Donnie Mitchell a try from Texas. Just kind of looking at his kind of his pros and cons sheet. A lot of pros, not really many cons. Again, I never really have seen him play, but I have heard his name quite a bit. 55 catches on the year, 845 yards, 11 touchdowns at Texas. The one thing that people do say about him is he's not very good whenever like people are close to him, like whenever someone's dogging him, he's not great at, yeah. So hopefully a little bit of good NFL coaching can make him better in that area. But other than that, I've seen nothing but great things about this guy.
Yeah.
Another guy that's kind of fits that role, like we just said about with Coleman and Brian Thomas. I mean, could fit in an offense like that. And we know that Texas, Quinn Ewers, they had a pretty prolific offense this year. It'll be interesting to see how they replace them guys next year. But I don't know, man. Like I said, we're starting to get into dart throwing territory, but Texas, good school. It'll be interesting to see. What do you think of Mitchell, man?
Yeah, only one drop on 90 targets I'm seeing here.
Oh, that's good.
Jordan Reed, so very reliable hands. Seems like he's kind of a chains mover guy. 6'4", 195, so pretty slender build to being really tall. Don't mind that though. Don't mind that at all. He was actually a transfer, I believe, out of Georgia, so to Texas.
Yep.
So we're gonna see. That's a name that's kind of been coming around a little bit. Good route runner, like I said, move the chains guy. We can always, that to me, which obviously he's bigger and I don't see him in that similar role, but could he be that consistent like an Amon-Ra, but maybe not at that level, but consistently getting you like 15, 13 to 15 points.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Absolutely.
We could all use that instead of like a 40-point game, a 2-point game, a 2-point game.
A Gabe Davis.
Yeah. Or Mike Evans in the day. Mike Evans didn't do it this year.
Yeah.
That's because Super Baker was there.
That's right.
I tell you, I was thinking about Penix, but I didn't know he had 4 season-ending injuries.
Yeah.
I had no
I didn't
clue.
know it was 4. I thought it was like 2 or 3, but if it's 4, and
I guess here it says 4. It's two ACL tears.
Yep.
And an ACL joint separation in each shoulder.
Yep. And I believe he's 25.
He's something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
So I know. I think he's talented.
Yeah.
That shit scares me.
Yeah.
I think too, that game against Michigan, if he would have won that game, it would have helped propel him a little bit more. But he, like you said, like when he missed Rome that time, he looked a little off.
I think that's kind of his big flaw, not to get on a Penix rant here, but like when he's outside of the pocket, he's not as accurate. And I think a lot of people think that like he's this big time runner. I even heard, compared to Michael Vick, he's not.
Yeah.
It's just not his game, and that's okay.
Right.
But the thing, I would love to see him with the Rams.
Yeah.
I would love to see him with the Rams. I think if you put Michael Penix with a guy like McVay or somebody, it's just a real guru that can really help these guys. I even had Carson Wentz looking okay.
Yeah.
Like, I know it was backups and stuff, but
no, he turned Baker Mayfield around too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, I'm not out on Penix, and I know like there's all of that. I think there's upside to be had.
Beautiful
I do.
deep ball.
Yeah, I know. Oh, I know. I think a lot of it, like I said, is just whenever he's under, a lot of distress and outside of the pocket, he's a little bit iffy. But
yeah,
that's just like, so if anybody listen to this, he's not this amazing athlete that runs. He's a very good, like you said, most deep ball guy.
Yeah.
Just if you put him, I think you put him in the right situation, he's somebody that'll move up my ranks.
Wish Pete Carroll's still in Seattle. I'd like to see him in Seattle.
I know. Stay right there.
Yeah.
Stay in the seat.
Mm-hmm. But I think that's what he needs is just good stability around him. Don't let him get hit up a bunch. We've seen these guys, like, that's hard to say for season-ending, injuries, but like, I mean, if it was 2, you'd be like, well, maybe that's tough.
Yeah.
I think that's probably going to hurt his draft stock in the NFL at least.
Yeah, for sure. We're going to come over here though to Moss. It's going to be the last pick. Moss, the last pick of this rookie mock. Who's it going to be?
Yeah, I had Michael Penix, but he talked me right out of it. I didn't realize he was 25 and had 4 season-ending injuries. But
I wouldn't hate it though.
No, but I think I'm going to throw. I think I'm going to go Trey Benson. I think.
Oh, you get a running back.
I think I'm going to go one running back in this first round, and I mean, from what I see, he could be a 3-down back. Yeah, he catches decent, and from the little bit of film I watched, he's a hard runner. Mm-hmm. And he could have nice 2nd, 3rd round capital. So to take him for the 112, I think it's a decent dart throw.
Yeah. So I really want to take Jonathan Brooks with my pick. I'm a big Jonathan Brooks fan, running back out of Texas. I haven't got to dive into Trey yet. I did dive into a little bit of Jonathan Brooks, and I love what I seen.
Okay.
Love what I seen.
Little teaser for the running backs.
Yeah, I didn't watch any of him yet.
That's crazy though. The first running back off the board at 112.
I honestly think Jonathan Brooks would be the consensus number 1 if he went towards the ACL.
Really?
I think that's what's scaring a lot of people off.
The running back class, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The running backs.
Yeah.
Which I think would be right here, like right around here.
The back end of the first.
Beginning of the second.
But you're right, Ty. No running backs. That is strange. Yeah. I mean, we all know that.
We got to treat it like the NFL, though. Like, we're seeing, guys like Kyron Williams who are thrown to the wayside be relevant. Like, then we're seeing guys like, I mean, of course, McCaffrey was, but like Najee Harris was a 1st-round pick. Not really used.
Yeah, you're starting to see the guys that really weren't wanted. Yeah. The guy, to even like Warren in Pittsburgh now. Mm-hmm. He took Najee's job, 1st-round pick to an undrafted for free agent.
And looked significantly better than Najee against Buffalo.
Yeah.
Just did.
Yep, absolutely, man. And, this is the main reason why we wanted to do this show, guys, because, like, again, we haven't dived into really any of the tape yet. I can't wait to do that because when we do, we'll get a real good pulse on these guys. And you guys got to listen to that episode because we're going to try everything we can to help you pick the right players.
Yeah.
And see where they're valued at.
We've had a good track record here.
Yeah, we have. I mean, hey, I say we always go about 70, 80%. Mm-hmm. I mean, we do a good job with the draft.
Yeah.
But one thing I'll say, the main thing about this show is we wanted to introduce these players to you guys.
Yeah.
And show you about where they're going to be going consensusly right now. And if you have some of these picks, it's kind of nice. So if you ain't familiar with any of these guys, it's kind of a nice tool to go back and look at and say, okay, where should I be thinking, what's Caleb Williams valued at? Do you think,
right?
What's Malik Nabers valued at? So it's really, really good, useful tool. And I'm glad we did it. But like, again, a lot will change when we watch the film.
Right.
So
yeah, well, it'll be exciting like before the draft when we redo this and we're like, hey,
yeah,
will it be the same? Who knows? Maybe it will, but
yeah, there could be some changes, maybe especially down towards that bottom half of the first. To me, I think anything past 107, it's kind of wide open.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
So we'll dive more into that. But on the next episode, I believe we're going to be doing quarterback safe and not safe. Mm-hmm. We're going to be talking about some of the quarterback situations around the league.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
How do we feel about some of these guys? Are we coming off them? Are we buying low? I mean, it's going to be fun. I can't wait to talk some of that.
Yeah, it is.
Because we all know the quarterback position is what makes the league go around.
Yeah.
And again, guys, make sure you check out all the great shows on the Dynasty DNA podcasting network. We got like 4 or 5 of them coming out each and every week. We got the main Dynasty DNA show, like you heard right here. We got the Fantasy Feud with Ty Muscles and Big Jimbo. Dynasty Debates. They talk all kinds of things, trades, player values, team situations. It's a great show. Yep. Check out the Double Coverage DFS show with Sterling and Big E weekly. If you're a DFS person, you got to go over and see that. Them guys are awesome. They do a great job with it. Yeah. They're going to be covering the whole playoff round.
Yeah.
So make sure you check that out. Again, me and Andy are going to be launching the new show, Dynasty DNA Plus.
Yep.
It'll be coming out as far as on Spotify, Apple Pod, and all the podcasting networks Friday morning, but it will be live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube tomorrow evening around 7 o'clock.
And there's no really set schedule because trying to get everybody's times together, so we'll try to let everybody know whenever we post a new video, we're going to go live, but just keep an eye out. Definitely keep listening.
It's another great show, and it's an opportunity to bring some of these guys in and introduce you to them and their great work and get other people's perspectives.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we all try not to be biased or just agree, but it's nice to go to somebody that you don't know that does their own work to maybe see stuff from a different side, to give you different ideas and different perspectives on these players.
Yep, for sure. And our first guest will be Tip Major. Good guy. Excited to talk to him.
Yeah, me too.
But again, guys, make sure you follow us on Spotify, Apple Pod, Stitcher, Google, Amazon, the DNA Strand Crew. You guys are the best. I mean, if you enjoy the content, please leave a 5-star review, follow. It means the world to us. And, we love seeing that. I mean, we know that you're enjoying it, and it brings us happiness. So that's what it's all about. And two, YouTube's up and rolling.
Yep.
If you want to see these pretty faces, go over there, subscribe. You can check out all the videos over on the Dynasty DNA YouTube page.
That's right.
But check us out on Twitter too at DynastyDNA_ for all important updates and information regarding all fantasy football stuff and the show in general. But this is going to do it for this episode. We hope you guys, your teams do well in the playoffs if they're still in it. Yeah. Have fun with that. And we will see you guys on the next episode of Dynasty DNA.
See you guys.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Dynasty DNA Fantasy Football Podcast. Become a part of the DNA Strand Crew today over on Discord, and be sure to check out the website dynastydna.net for all important fantasy football information. And follow us on Twitter at DynastyDNA_.